show. It's a new era. Let's get it, let's go. From 7 to 9, it's Tingle and Co. What up, Lord? What up, Lord? You can call me him. I'm Shay Dixon in the whip with them RPMs. Gotta pull up to the chat and shit out to them. Now trying to ball like Big Folk, then get out the gym. Monday through Friday from 7 to 9. When you see that notification, we about to go live. Hit this track and do you dance like you Karen Lacey. Run it back and turn Matthew to the house, baby. It's Tingle and Co. From 7 to 9. Come keep with the show. It's a new era. Let's get it, let's go. From 7 to 9. It's Tingle and Co. It's Tingle and Co. From 7 to 9. Come keep with the show. It's a new era. Let's get it, let's go. From 7 to 9. It's Tingle and Co. What up, Lord? What up, Lord? You can call me him. I'm Shay Dixon in the whip with them RPMs. Gotta pull up to the chat and shit out to them. Now trying to ball like Big Folk, then get out the gym. Monday through Friday from 7 to 9. When you see that notification, we about to go live. Hit this track and do you dance like you Karen Lacey. Run it back and turn Matthew to the house, baby. It's Tingle and Co. From 7 to 9. Come keep with the show. It's a new era. Let's get it, let's go. From 7 to 9. It's Tingle and Co. It's Tingle and Co. From 7 to 9. Come keep with the show. It's a new era. Let's get it, let's go. From 7 to 9. It's Tingle and Co. What up, Lord? What up, Lord? You can call me him. I'm Shay Dixon in the whip with them RPMs. Gotta pull up to the chat and shit out to them. Now trying to ball like Big Folk, then get out the gym. Monday through Friday from 7 to 9. When you see that notification, we about to go live. Hit this track and do you dance like you Karen Lacey. Run it back and turn Matthew to the house, baby. It's Tingle and Co. From 7 to 9. Come keep with the show. It's a new era. Let's get it, let's go. From 7 to 9. It's Tingle and Co. It's Tingle and Co. From 7 to 9. Come keep with the show. It's a new era. Let's get it, let's go. From 7 to 9. It's Tingle and Co. What up, Lord? What up, Lord? You can call me him. I'm Shay Dixon in the whip with them RPMs. Gotta pull up to the chat and shit out to them. Now trying to ball like Big Folk, then get out the gym. Monday through Friday from 7 to 9. When you see that notification, we about to go live. Hit this track and do you dance like you Karen Lacey. Run it back and turn Matthew to the house, baby. It's Tingle and Co. From 7 to 9. Come keep with the show. It's a new era. Let's get it, let's go. From 7 to 9. It's Tingle and Co.
All right, good morning and welcome in here on this Thursday morning after a crazy, wild Wednesday. Tell you what, it started off as a pretty calm Wednesday,
I wonder what Lou Holtz is doing right now.
and it turned into quite the day. But it's good to see everybody in here. We appreciate you starting your morning with us as we are live from our Southern Regional Medical Center studios on this beautiful Thursday morning. Not too chilly outside, but I wonder what the weather's like in Michigan right about now.
Probably feels out in the cold.
Quite the story yesterday. We'll definitely get into that because there are a few, storylines that could affect LSU and us and the fan base. So obviously, we'll get into that as well. Some of the other things that are going on. LSU has another transfer portal addition, or planning to enter the transfer portal in Jawan Johnson. And that one, That one sucked to see.
It's a sad one.
It's a sad one because, and obviously it's been I guess, would you call it mismanagement or would you just call it kind of the situation? Like it just ended up being the timing more than anything that he gets here as a DB. They need a running back, so he goes to play running back. Well, then they need a quarterback, so he goes to play quarterback. Well, then they need a running back again, so he goes back to running back. Was it management or was it just kind of
It's
the situation?
The curse of being too athletic. Right? I mean, you saw this. You've seen this once with. Well, you've seen it a
Many
couple of times at LSU.
Right.
I guess, namely, Russell Shepard would be one,
Yes.
and probably the most evident. But then you have what is it, Devonta Lee,
Yep.
Jacoby Stevens, where it's like you can't really put them in a
Fitzgerald West.
Fitzgerald
I
West.
played him O-line and D-line.
There you go. Oh, Lamar Brown.
There you can,
Hey, well, don't.
no, I mean it's
Come on.
it's the curse of a utility player in a sense.
In a sport that doesn't require that can't
Right.
really use one.
Right.
And so I think it became this, and he's never. I think he came to LSU with the intent to play defensive back, and then LSU because you became the Mr. Fix-It.
Right.
I would just put Jawan there.
Yeah.
And it's like okay, and he is as
Yeah.
good of a student athlete or a good as embodiment of LSU as you could ask for.
I
Because he
completely
never
agree.
complained. He was always like, "I'll do whatever it takes for LSU to win," and that's literally what he would say, and that's literally what he did. You move from because I think in his heart of hearts, he always wanted to play quarterback.
Of course.
Because how could you be that good at something and it's like are you sure?
He holds the records
Records that will never
in the state
that will
of
never be
Louisiana
broken.
at that position, and so he is an embodiment of LSU. He stepped up every single time the university needed him. And you saw yesterday he puts out on Twitter, "Hardest decision of my life. Thank you, Tiger Nation. Let's finish strong," which led right into the next post he put out. "I'm still playing in the bowl game.
Of course he is.
We'll finish this season off right with my teammates."
That's a lad. That's a good lad.
It's
There we
hard to
go.
not love Jawan Johnson. So it sucks. It really does suck to see him go because when you think about the gifts that he has athletically, the fact that you never really got to fully experience it, he never got to develop anywhere at LSU. He kind of just, like we said, he bounced around.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see what he looks like wherever he lands, and obviously wish him the best of luck, and it'll be exciting to see him in the bowl game.
Quick fire game. Where do you want him to go?
Not the SEC.
Georgia Tech. They utilize him well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What they did with Haynes King.
Yeah, I mean, anywhere, but I just...
Yeah, don't-
He's that athletic and that talented. I don't want him to end up somewhere...
He'd be a nightmare if he went to Arkansas.
Right, like it just... Bobby Petrino, that offense?
Yeah, well, is he gonna be there still?
I don't know. I don't know
I
how
think
it's
he
going to
could
shake
probably
out. Probably
oh.
not.
Do you think he's like Sherrone been there?
Woof.
Wolf.
Welcome to the club.
Tough way to get out of it.
You'll get over it.
Stop doing a motorcycle.
Time deals all lose.
Everybody will forget this.
Yeah.
No matter how absurd that seems.
But I do
Go
hope
get yourself a neck brace.
in the bowl game, Juwan gets to play some quarterback.
I hope he
Just
plays
for-
the entire game.
Just for him, the whole, I think Van Buren will play the majority of that game.
Give
But
him a
just for
little bit.
Juwan,
Showcase him.
I want him to go play quarterback.
But would he take that chance? And because if you go out there and you play abysmally at quarterback, where it's like put up John Trey Kirkland numbers, where it's like this is so disjointed,
I don't
and
think
they
that
want.
would happen. I think
I don't. But I'm just saying because he's never played the position in college, and it's like I'm entering the portal with the intent to play quarterback. He's reposting old highlights, like he can tell.
Right.
And if you play him in the bowl game at quarterback for 4 quarters, and it's like 12 of 31 for 110 yards and interceptions, like I don't know if you can do this.
I don't think he's gonna.
I don't think
he's
you-
gonna.
But I don't think
push
it's
back.
it's not worth the risk.
Right, I could see that.
If
But I
he-
mean, if he
if he
wants
does
to
that
play
and rush for
quarterback
60 yards,
somewhere
then-
next, I mean,
I'm sure he'd like to practice.
yeah, or like at least put film out like that.
Yeah, that's what I think. That's the benefit of it,
Right,
and I
only-
want to see it.
Right. You're only filming quarterbacks from high school, so we'll see how it ends up shaking out. It'll be interesting with him sticking around. Just sucks to see Juwan go because he definitely was a fan favorite, and he continues to be so in the way he represents LSU. Obviously, the news yesterday was the firing of Sherrone Moore at Michigan, fired with cause due to an inappropriate relationship. And there have been a lot of stories and a lot of rumors around and about this inappropriate relationship and the firing and the arrest of Sherrone Moore as it just kept kind of unraveling and unfolding and getting crazier as the day went on.
Buddy had a bad day.
It was a bad day.
Really bad day.
I mean, it's up there for like one of the worst days. This is a guy that was the interim coach when they won the national championship. Then he gets
clearly a very passionate man.
Right, he cried after they beat Penn State. He then gets the job, has a rough season last season, but beats Ohio State, which for them heals all wounds. Then goes into this year where up until the Ohio State game, they had some playoff chances. They were 9-2, I think, before Ohio State, and then ended up losing that game and missing out. So, like,
well, then that's when I think the wheels got put in motion of let's get Sherrone Moore out of here.
And
well, then he helped him out a lot, though, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I mean,
no, I think that so Tim Brando was on with Moscona yesterday. This all happened to me in real time. I was doing mic'd up, and I was like, just like reading. I didn't want to report anything because apparently you're not supposed to do that. And so I was just reading, and they're like, "What?" And I was like, "I think y'all will see soon. I just want to make sure that this is like accurate or whatever." And it's like, what a rabbit hole to go down. But when I was driving over, Tim Brando, who's a reputable reporter, was like, they've known since September. Michigan has, because he works with somebody that was a Michigan alum. And they're like, oh, yeah. He goes, oh, it got out, huh? I'm like, very properly timed for Michigan to be able to get through signing day, right?
Yeah, that's one of the things you just kind of put in your back pocket. You get through what you need to get through.
Oh, you lost to Ohio State. We're not even that good.
The more extreme versions of the story, those happened.
Oh, I don't know.
Or was that all yesterday after it broke, he had a meltdown?
According to the rumors, it was yesterday, but all of those, the extreme stories that have come out of it.
That all happened. I think he was GTAing.
Have not been referenced as
the thing
true.
The thing that he got fired for college has been going on for a while. And
yes, the inappropriate relationship that led to the firing has been going on. They've known about it. They back pocketed it.
If the other stuff happened,
how this plays out. If they make the playoff and things go well, probably don't have these things come out. You know what I mean? Like,
a lot of things that get fixed real easy.
That's the dirty underbelly of college football, where it's like, if you win, we'll kind of just put up with
whatever.
You know what I mean?
I mean, look at Joe Paterno. Like, what they do.
Right.
Like, he's an old man.
We're gonna just win, and we don't have to. And then you start losing.
He had.
What did he do?
He had camps, but they were
like camps.
Yeah, it's like
camp?
Surprised it didn't happen at a Catholic institution.
Actually, you're gonna tell me Jeff Epstein, the financier, was a bad guy?
Yeah, didn't he go to Penn State?
I don't know, but.
But some of the layers
financier
to what rolls out after this. There are a handful of ways that you could tie this to LSU, correct?
Mm-hmm.
One name I saw pop up, obviously the last time Michigan was hiring a coach. And then into this time, he is now without a job and didn't get the Penn State job and didn't get the Michigan State job, and it's Brian Kelly.
The coverage of Bear.
And in my opinion, would not be a bad hire for Michigan.
What name did you say?
Brian Kelly.
What? No.
Ever heard of him?
Yeah, nobody wants that man. They're trying to get Kalen DeBoer.
Yeah. But I'm just saying.
You don't do what you did to Sherrone Moore and calculate this if you don't have a yes from DeBoer.
Co-head coaches.
Do you think they already have a yes from DeBoer?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Genuinely.
I don't think that.
Mm-hmm.
Why would
they do it?
That seems...
If you don't have, because you missed out on all of the hiring, you missed the boat.
Explain his thought process in taking that job to me.
He coached at Eastern Michigan. He likes it up there.
Okay,
and then
but
he goes to obviously Alabama, and
it's a step back of a gig.
It's easier. This is it because there's
coaches aren't like us. They don't always go for what's easiest.
I think
Well, he didn't, right? He goes from it was
love
easier
to
at Washington.
Yeah.
He took the jump at Alabama. He's been there for 2 years.
He's like,
and I think he's realizing that
there's nothing I can do where these people will like
not
me.
that much fun. It is. Right. It's the worst job in America in that sense.
And his name is not popping up around these things. When Penn State was open, it popped up. It's not popping up on accident. Like it's not. But his agent's Jimmy Sexton, right? I'm pretty sure Kalen DeBoer's agent is Jimmy Sexton.
That's interesting.
And so, those things don't happen on accident. I don't think they already have a yes. I don't know if DeBoer takes it. But it's not, like I said, it's not popping up on accident.
So DeBoer takes it and lane jumps, right?
That's what everybody's saying, right?
Yeah. That was
That's the.
It was the easiest joke.
Yeah.
The
Yes.
easiest joke.
The easiest jab is Lane's
It's
going
also
to lead
but
LSU
it-
at the altar.
The reason you can say it is because there's a likelihood to it because of what's happened to LSU in the past. Whenever you finally
Right.
get to the
Right.
altar and feel like it's signed, sealed, delivered, a la Bryce Underwood.
If you say it first, it won't hurt you
Well,
as
not
much.
just that. I mean, like you just think about it. It is Lane Kiffin, and that was the discussion was he's always going to be a climber, and I think majority of people view the Alabama job as better than the LSU job when in reality, when you look at it, they're very similar, right? The blueprints have been laid by the same man. It's just one place got to hold on to him longer, therefore got 7 national championships out of it.
Also,
right?
one job has the most insane expectations.
Right.
on the
I mean,
face
one
of
you're
the
following
earth.
up the greatest, but like you can recruit the same talent, you get the same resources,
Because-
Lane's in a pretty good spot. Now,
I mean,
we've had the
I know-
conversation before. With the Iron Bowl would Lane take the leap to go to Bama? I think now the conversation is different because he's got a deal done, he's got things in place, he's gotten the ball rolling in Baton Rouge. He is LSU's coach now. The fear a couple weeks ago was while he still wasn't a done deal with LSU, the Alabama job becoming open after the Iron Bowl, and
It's stalling.
then it's a
yeah.
different conversation. It definitely would have stalled the process because that's who Jimmy Sexton is. That's what he would have done. He would have stalled the process, let that thing extend out for his
Marinate.
guy. It's a different dynamic now because Lane Kiffin is LSU's coach.
That's not. Yeah, I mean,
It's a completely different situation.
Oh, I mean, it's not the wildest. It would be wild.
It'd
but-
be wild, but I don't.
I mean,
think
it's not without the realm of possibility. I mean, it's Lane Kiffin, first of all, is who you're dealing with. He's made decisions like this before.
Right.
I mean, literally been at Tennessee for a year and left. And then, like, I think that his affinity for Alabama is more fan-made than actually
And
how he
I don't
feels.
know-
I don't think the AD there likes him.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know how much Alabama because when they were hiring,
They could have. They had the
DeBoer,
chance to do
they
this.
could have hired Kiffin, and they went and got the guy in Washington rather than a former Alabama offensive coordinator that was right down the road.
Right.
And so I don't know how, but it is the easiest fan discussion to have is, haha, LSU, guess
Right.
what? Now he's going to leave you. And, we'll see how kind of it shakes out. But it's interesting to see where Michigan goes because I do tend to agree on the front of they've got something that makes them confident enough to make the move, right?
Right.
The same way LSU with Kelly, right? Kentucky with Stoops. They obviously were confident in going and getting the guy from Oregon. Because we all were like, whoa, time out. Kentucky's just getting into the race so late. Like, what are they doing? Well, then, a couple hours later, you realize they've got Oregon's offensive
They've been
coordinator.
working on this
That
for
was
a
already-
week.
They had a done deal. Before they got rid of Stoops, they knew who their guy was going to be.
I do think it's foolish to overlook one Michigan man.
What?
The Michigan man we all know and love.
He's flirted with the job before.
He's flirted with the job before.
He's done a lot of flirting in his
He's
life.
had a little time off. He's refreshed. Huh?
I don't believe we'll ever see old Les back in the hat.
I don't know if he's refreshed either.
No.
A
think he's
Michigan man through and through.
Yeah, ask Kirk Herbstreit. Remember that in 2007?
Yeah. I remember it very well.
I have to go call a press conference for my damn strong football team. Man, hell yeah. Hell yeah!
Yes, that's our guy.
LSU is so good. We'll start the backup quarterback
Calls the
and
press
win.
con- I'm not leaving my damn strong fantasy football team.
Help me.
The
Less Miles jokes.
the next layer or potential connection to LSU would be Michigan's quarterback, right? I think that's where everyone's brain first went when they heard this news was, wait, Bryce Underwood.
And then everybody
Because-
has a thought.
Because if you don't know the background for Bryce Underwood, I'll lay it out there for you, was committed to LSU for basically an entire calendar year as the number one quarterback coming out of high school, is from Michigan, committed to LSU 1 January, decommits from LSU the week of signing day a year ago, right? We, Lloyd Christian and I did a emergency stream in the dark.
In the dark.
After Bryce Underwood decommits and commits to Michigan. Basically, Michigan comes in, offers him this $12 million contract in NIL money that LSU just LSU was competitive NIL-wise. They weren't going to pay $12 million for a quarterback, for a high school player, right? Michigan says, you know what? Everything we got, we've got to keep this guy in the state. He ultimately accepts that deal, goes to Michigan. His numbers on the season, I don't know exactly what they are, but I do know they are underwhelming from what I have heard and seen when I've watched the games.
9 touchdowns, 7 interceptions.
He's thrown for 2,229 yards, 9 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. Nothing overly impressive.
Well, and for the crowd that says, "Oh, he's a bust, he stinks," like that's the reason he didn't want to go to
Michigan.
That's the reason he didn't want to go to Michigan in the first place. He knew what he was looking at. It's like, tell me a quarter. He's literally quoted saying, "Tell me a quarterback that Michigan's developed." You can't name one. Look at J.J. McCarthy in the NFL. He stinks.
Right,
But he's got that dog in him.
9.
But the 9.
Hey, Tyrann Matthews already making a public plea.
Right.
Yeah, I love that.
Let's keep it going, guys.
And so
Everybody in your podcast, beg him.
That's where your brain first goes. A former LSU commit that got snagged from the Tigers due to money, right? Like it was like that was the conversation was LSU recruited him through and through. That's where he wanted to go. Ended up staying home at the team he grew up watching for $12 million. But what was best for Bryce Underwood, what he voiced himself, was to go to LSU where they develop quarterbacks, right? You know, Jaden Daniels was just there, you know, right a year before Underwood, you know, committed. Now the conversation's even more accelerated because not only do you have the LSU brand that's associated with 2 Heisman quarterbacks in the last, 6 years? Lane Kiffin is now the head football coach who is pretty good with quarterbacks and pretty good on the offensive side of the football. And so the first thought is going to be, okay, does LSU go get Bryce Underwood? Does he hit the portal with Sherrone Moore leaving, and does LSU go get him? And look, at the NIL waters, I'm not a professional, so I don't know how these contracts work. If he does transfer from Michigan, does he have to pay the money back? Does the school he goes to have to cover that for? Like, how do all of these things work? I'm not a professional. I don't know. We're going to talk to Glen West at 8 a.m. Maybe he'll know. I don't know. We'll see. But I see right now in the chat we have 45 votes currently. 71% say yes, they would take Bryce Underwood back at LSU. 29% no. Like I said yesterday, when it comes to the quarterback position, whatever Lane Kiffin wants to do, whoever he identifies as his guy, I trust. Right? So you can ask me, who do you like? Who do you think it should be? I can say whatever name I want. Whoever Lane selects and says that's the guy I'm going to get, I am 100% on board.
Yeah.
Regardless of what I see on film, regardless of what I think, I would not have been excited about Trinidad Chambliss a year ago, been like, why are we getting a D2 quarterback from Ferris State?
Oh, if that would have been if that had been Brian Kelly and
right,
George
like, what are we doing?
This
right?
guy's a disaster.
And then guess what? Lane Kiffin in his offense,
it looks like a genius.
He looks like the smartest man in America, right? And so whatever Lane decides to do at that position, I'm on board. Let's do it. If it's Sam Levitt, if it's Bryce Underwood, if it's Trinidad Chambliss, if it's somebody,
Phillip Rivers,
I don't even know that they exist right now.
Phillip Rivers.
If it's Phillip Rivers, right?
He's taking gigs.
Whoever Lane identified. Personally, myself, it was a fun time riding the Bryce Underwood Express when he was committed to LSU, watching the film, thinking about that in purple and gold.
In Tiger Stadium.
And as much as it hurt, right, when he flipped to Michigan, goes there at the same time,
I did not blame him.
If he hits the transfer portal and you have the opportunity to get him,
you go, but you make a push. And
you make a push because he is that talented, and the writing is on the wall at Michigan. And right? Like he threw for 9 touchdowns and 6 picks.
He ran for 5.
Right.
5 a carry.
But so what? That's 14 total touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Right, 14 total touchdowns as the number 1 quarterback. And now he is a true freshman, but he's in an offense that's not conducive with quarterback success.
We've
seen it a million times.
Is that
And at LSU right now, there is that offense sitting there waiting. And if it happened, if Bryce Underwood hit the portal and he came to LSU, there is no way you could convince me that's not going to work. Sitting here right now. If it happens and it doesn't work, I'll eat crow live right here on the camera. You know, like I will admit that I'm
You'll eat a crow?
You'd eat
I'll
a crow?
That's a smart bird.
Oh!
He'll know what's happening to him. That's fucked up.
What's the bird that you eat that you cover your eye? You have to cover your eyes because even God wouldn't watch you see.
It's like
I've never heard of this.
you eat the baby bird raw.
Yeah, it's deep fried.
Yeah. Orlo?
Something like that. Ortolo.
Yeah.
Ortolong. Yeah, they deep fry it, but it's alive, and then you have to cover your eyes with a washcloth because
Tom
you don't
makes
want God to
Greg
see
eat
you.
it.
Yeah, Greg Egg eats it.
It's illegal.
But back to the,
Yeah, it is illegal.
It is, yeah.
And he's like, oh, let's get more. And they're hard to get.
You want to talk about his favorite thing at a
It's a closed loop.
No.
Oh my gosh.
The chicken Cajun Alfredo that they make at the pasta kitchen. They make it just how I like.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Anyway,
But on the Underwood, like it would be cool to get Underwood in general, right? Landon Baroni says in the chat, he said, having him would be cool, but him with Lane would be ridiculous. Like the conversation's even crazier now than it was a year ago because of who LSU is potentially going to be on the offensive side of the ball this year.
And you're so confident in Lane Kiffin that you're like, you don't even really require Bryce Underwood. If you were where you were, like if it was still the status quo, if it was Brian Kelly, Joe Sloan, and this happened, you'd be going, you have to go all in on Underwood. After what just happened with Garrett
if you're Brian Kelly
Nussmeier.
and Joe Sloan, you throw every ounce of money you have possible to get that done because that was your life raft. That was what got Joe Sloan promoted. That was what kept that offensive staff together. That's what everything
was hinging on.
was banking on, right? Which makes it even more questionable that when it didn't happen, you still kept it status quo over there, right?
I think it happened so late in the...
it was just too
Right,
late. It was
right,
too late
right.
to do anything. Yeah, exactly.
But regardless,
That's where the anger for Underwood comes from. Is like, you kind of left us at the altar here. Now we don't have a backup plan.
well, but then I think
We
like,
don't have a.
but then you did have a backup plan. You
We
ended
don't
up
have a
spending
first
that
plan.
money elsewhere. And,
That's what I'm saying. That only propelled... I'm talking about a quarterback.
right,
But it only
right.
propelled the theory that, oh, thank God we didn't spend all that money on Underwood. Look how bad he is and look how good our roster is. Either way, it didn't work.
Right. It didn't work for anybody.
Right.
He threw for 9 touchdowns, and LSU went 7-5.
Garrett Nussmeier threw for 12.
And I mean, like, Michigan is famously, even since Harbaugh was there, they haven't put out elite quarterbacks. They've had quarterbacks that have run that system that won some games, but they weren't.
No, they're not.
Look
They're
at-
not
I mean,
winning.
look
They're
at
winning
what-
in spite of their quarterback.
Yeah, look at McCarthy in the NFL. Like, look at whoever the quarterbacks were last year. They all transferred out, right? I mean, it's.
You had Shoelace. That was the last time Denard Robinson was their offense was fun.
Yeah, what
That was the Richard Rod.
So, I mean, like,
13?
it's just not a place that's like over 2 regimes now. They're not putting out.
No, it's just not.
Fucking
it's not,
world
it's not what
beaters.
Michigan is. Michigan's going to dominate in the trenches. They're going to run the football.
Right.
What was it, Tom Brady and Chad Henne?
And so
Who weren't good there anyway.
It's
No,
going to be
Tom
interesting-
Brady was bad there.
Yeah.
it's going to be interesting to see how
Yeah.
it pans out because I do think that's probably Michigan's number one stipulation with where they're at right now is we've got to go get a guy to keep this guy here, right? So you want to go get
DeBoer.
probably an offensive-minded coach like a Kalen DeBoer that would work with Bryce Underwood because it's crazy that he played the way he did with all of the talent he has. Like, if you go turn on the high school film, I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
But he's not in the portal, and Michigan's first order of business is going to be getting a coach to keep Bryce Underwood there.
Yeah, they need to. If you're Michigan, you're writing this book, and you're reading like, we got to get out of this chapter. Like, this is not. We need a new protagonist because right now, like,
You've got to
change the storyline.
You've got to shut this book. Like this
The
whole
book needs to go.
This whole Harbaugh, more like this whole stretch of time. You need to remove yourself from it as quick as possible. Right? Get away from the mess that it's been for the last decade at Michigan, where Harbaugh was mid at Michigan. Then they steal signs. They get really good. They get in trouble for it. They win a national championship. He leaves them so he doesn't get in trouble for it. They hire Sherrone Moore. He coaches for 2 years, and now that's a mess, right? You need to get away from that if you're Michigan.
It's kind of the last few years of like New England,
Yeah, like it is a mess.
where it's like
But
Belichick's
credit
not working,
to Michigan
blah, blah, blah.
for
Mayo.
making LSU look so much better, because a month and a half ago, LSU was the mess, right? With the Brian Kelly, and they're firing him with cause, without cause. Do they have an AD? Do they not? No president. There's your president. Still don't have an AD. Wait, they do. No, they don't. Coach is suing them now. Governor's talk. Well, then you hire Lane Kiffin. That kind of gets rid of all that. And now Michigan, makes LSU look not that big of a mess, because we're still doing this, And so,
Sorry, just thinking about. I'm not going to say it.
Okay. Well, listen to the staff under Harbaugh. Denard Robinson, I just talked about DUI. Steve Clinkscale, DUI. Matt Weiss, pervert. Greg Scruggs, DUI. Fergus Connolly, DUI. Jim Minnick, DUI. Sherrone Moore, stay tuned.
Where do they all play? Georgia? That's ridiculous.
what is going if you are Michigan?
Do you know why you didn't hear about any of this? They were winning.
They were winning, right? Yeah. And then now they go what? They go 7-5, 8-5 last season. This year they go 9-3.
What did they do?
They beat Ohio State. So guess what, Sherrone? You're good.
Mm-hmm.
You beat Ohio State.
All
This
right.
year you go 9-3. You
We'll
don't
get
get
you
in the
Underwood.
playoff, and you
lost
didn't
it.
beat Ohio State.
Ring, ring.
And so if you're Michigan, you have got to turn the page from that. You have to get away from that as soon as possible.
What goes to show how, regardless of what you think about college football and maybe the importance of a regular season or just what it shows to show how important the ultimate prize is, what you will do to be able to get one, because Michigan was irrelevant. And they hadn't been relevant since, Lloyd Carr in the 90s? And it's like, we have got to get back to prominence here. Harbaugh, who has his own way of doing things, right? Like, he never really got in trouble for anything that's quote-unquote illegal. It's just bad in the college football realm, right? And that's why he had to leave, because this is a little seedy. But Michigan man also played quarterback there, leaves the NFL to go back to his alma mater, puts together this staff, and in 2 years they were good? And then it takes him, 6 to win a national championship? Then I'm gone. You sold your soul, but you got what you wanted. And as soon as Harbaugh left, did you not feel like Michigan's not going to be good? When the Sherrone Moore hire was announced as the coach,
very
it was
underwhelming.
he was a placeholder.
Yeah.
You have all of these charges you have to deal with in terms of what would Harbaugh put in your lap, and it's we're not. No coach would come here.
So we have to bridge this gap.
And hopefully Sherrone can hold the rope.
Deal with these sanctions.
Instead of throw rope.
Be normal.
Right.
Get us through this.
Just don't do anything
Don't let
publicly
things
embarrassing.
happen so we can hire somebody. But ultimately, they got through the sanctions aspect of it. They're back in, I think, unless there's new sanctions that come out.
I don't think you can sanction somebody for humiliating themselves at their mistress's house.
Well, it
but
depends what.
you never know.
It depends how much it was tied into the football program.
Well, and I'm about to show you how it is tied into the football program, because he didn't even hide it well. As this is all public information, I'm not. I'm not Pablo-touring this thing.
Like an Ime Udoka Petrino thing.
This is the alleged, I guess, who he is in cahoots with.
Okay.
This is her promotional.
Oh, nice.
So the first 2 years under Harbaugh.
Yep. And then when Sherrone Moore becomes the head
coach.
Oh.
Well, pay bump.
Huh?
Well, pay bump. No difference in title.
So she gets a 55% raise with no change in title. Still the administrative specialist.
Sounds like a body party to me.
He did move her.
Quite the tweet that was attached to.
He did. She did become special administrator to the head coach.
Which I mean,
come on, don't be so on the nose with it, right?
Right. Surely not, right? No. We
Throat
have to walk to work
head
together,
coach.
honey. She's my assistant.
And my executive assistant.
Yes.
No, I mean it's a mess, and it's going to be interesting to see where Michigan goes, because, like I said, one of the key ways this is connected to LSU in a sense would be Bryce Underwood. That has got to be Michigan's number one thought process is, what can we do to one, keep like the greatest quarterback in Michigan high school history, whatever he is. Hold on to him, keep him here, and develop him so he doesn't throw for 9 touchdowns. And so
That's your first order of business.
that's the first order of business if you're Michigan. And and this is where the conversation comes in. If they don't do that and he hits the portal, like I said, I'm going to trust whatever Lane Kiffin does. I would be very hard-pressed to think about Bryce Underwood in this system with the talent that Lane Kiffin can put around him and not say, man, that could look really good.
And this is one of the wildest. This is why I firmly believe that I think Michigan did have some sort of a plan, because Cole Kublik put out this list yesterday, and it's mind-boggling to see. He's like, tell me you would have known that all of these jobs would be open in the same year.
Oh,
in
yeah,
college
I saw
football.
this. No, it's unbelievable. If you would have told me before the season ended that all of these jobs would be open.
That's insane.
Florida's got money. LSU's got money.
Well, not only that, they just made hires.
Right.
Like, Brian Kelly's not leaving.
Right.
It's a $100 million man, all guaranteed.
Florida and LSU hired their coach in 2022. Auburn hired their coach in, 2023?
Penn
When
State
they hired Hugh Freeze?
has had the best run of
Penn State just
the
made
the real
made
era.
the college football playoff semifinals last year. Michigan won a national championship 2 years ago, right?
It's like maybe VT.
Like
maybe
Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss. What happened
Ole
there?
Miss.
Right? Sam Pittman at Arkansas, not a surprise. Some of these you expected, but like that top 5, right? Florida, LSU, Auburn, Penn State, Michigan. Like when those 5 jobs open up in the same cycle, and if it does end up being DeBoer that leaves to go to Michigan, you would then add Alabama to that list, which would quite literally create the craziest coaching carousel ever. Because we thought it was done. We thought it was over. Everybody's at their place. They've got it all figured out. Matt Campbell, Penn State. That was kind of the big cherry on top.
There's no
All
coaches
is
left.
wrong in
Everybody's
the world of college football.
Everybody's at home with their.
Wrong. Michigan fires their head football coach, Sherrone Moore, and will be looking to make a hire.
Oh, we should have known. There were signs everywhere. They're going.
Oh, yeah. Sean DeBone also says, ain't over yet, boys. Maybe Notre Dame. Marcus Freeman's name popped up around the New York Giants job.
Mm-hmm.
And that will be very interesting to watch, because then you would add Notre Dame to that list.
Let's read this whole sentence.
What a great week in Paris. Such a blessing to be a part of the Michigan family. Off to the Ville for the weekend to enjoy the hashtag Kentucky Derby festivities at Trifecta Gala hosted by at Diddy tonight to start it off. Hashtag Bonjour Blue, hashtag Can't Stop Won't Stop.
Yep.
May 4th, 2018 in Bowling Green, Ohio.
I was watching the Madagascar films with my little toddler niece the other day, and I don't know if you guys are familiar, but there's a scene where the animals from the zoo
Or talking.
they get stranded in Madagascar, and they come across a bunch of lemurs having a party, and the Chris Rock character, seeing the lemurs having a party, goes, "Oh my God, this is a Diddy party!" As he jumps into the
Oh, he
fray.
wanted to be a part of it. Indicting yourself.
Just it was everywhere.
That is crazy.
It was everywhere.
It's
It was
in
in
a,
a-
it's in a kids movie,
It's a kids movie.
and nobody knows what he's talking about, except for he did.
He did.
So what I'll ask here, kind of a cherry on top question about
Said Diddy party.
about this part. If you were to put, a likelihood ranking, 1 is unlikely, 10 is extreme. Like, you think it's going to happen, 1 you think no chance. The Bryce Underwood conversation, just genuinely, no LSU glasses off of it.
Mm-hmm.
Just looking at it for what it is right now. 1 not going to happen, 10 definitely going to happen.
Okay.
Where would you rank it?
What was the question?
4. I 5.
5, so
Yeah.
right in the middle. So
I
Bryce
think it's
Underwood, portal, LSU, that whole mess. Taking LSU glasses off, looking at it completely objectively. 1, not going to happen. 10, so 1, he's going to stay at Michigan. 10, definitely leaving, going somewhere. Where would you put it?
I think they make
8.
it.
An 8?
Wow.
It depends on who they like. Obviously, it depends on who
I
they
think
hire.
numbers
higher.
Negative 10.
So that's why it's because if it's an underwhelming hire, then I think that number jumps up a bunch.
Yeah, Dawson Baker 5.
I just
Steve
think
Vidrine 4. Fon 6.
because you also have to look at it from, even if I don't have the P&G shades on, you would look at it and go, well, I understand like what happened. He obviously had an affinity for the school at some point. Like that was a real recruiting. That was a real love. That was, I believe,
Chef says 10 thinks he's leaving.
right. And like he is from Michigan, but you had swayed him to LSU for, he'd been committed for almost 2 years, right? And I understand he was committed to Sloan, so maybe Kentucky's a player in this thing. I don't know, but that would be a fun offense with Oregon's offensive coordinator, and you have Sloan for a reason.
The contract that he signed, I think there's like a lot of
Verbiage.
no. A lot of people think it's $12 million a season. It was not. It's 4
$3 million a
years. It's between 10 and 12 is actually the number no one quite knows. So it's not like it's something that another school can't come in
And match.
No,
And-
not
and-
just match.
and
Like
match
they
and
also have
double.
the money to pay off
whatever it is, because that is the thing that's happening now, right? Where
Well,
it's
that's something that's become common when you have these binding contracts. With certain, like you need to be the quarterback. Well, if you're not, then that needs to be paid back.
basically like European transfer fee stuff,
And so going through the chat, Fon said 6. Ed Johnson also 6. Chef says 10. Brian Burgess 4. C. Vidrine jumped up to an 8. Brandon Hollingsworth 9. Charlie Oliver 7. Nazi 4 or 5. 3 or 4. So look, I mean, I think if you take LSU out of it on the 10 part and you just say 1 he stays, 10 he leaves, right? Mm-hmm. I would lean more towards the 7 range. Just with the way it's shaken out, the mess that is, the uncertainty around it, it would be a huge stressor on where Michigan goes next, whoever their next head coach is, which is why I think the DeBoer discussion makes sense, because they need an offensive revamp, right? Not only do you want to get away from this tenure's mess, off the field, you also want to
a more modern
wake up
identity.
Michigan, like you want to join 2025, right? 2026. You want to play real football, and that doesn't mean you can't run the football, but you have to be competent offensively, right? And so it'll be interesting to see, because I do think there's a very strong, like I said, a 7 that he hits the portal. It comes down to what Lane wants, right? If Chambliss gets that waiver, I think that's kind of the first order of business. That's obviously your guy at work. You've seen it, like, Sam Levitt's name as well. Like, you could see the potential. He's maybe not as accurate as you would want for a quarterback in Lane Kiffin's offense.
But there's a lot to work
But if I'm
with.
Bryce Underwood, I would be interested in what's going on at LSU, a place that I obviously love, enjoyed, was committed to for about a calendar year. He was committed to LSU. Came to multiple games, played on the Flow 7-on-7 team with Harlem Berry. It was coached by Ryan Clark. Their colors were purple and gold. Like, it was Flow, FLEAUX, right? Like, it was an LSU team, basically. And then now with Lane Kiffin there, it would be very much intriguing if I'm Bryce Underwood. And also, this new age LSU where money's not a problem, right? I mean, what they just signed, they got the contract done for Charlie Weiss Jr., and it was 3 years, $7.5 million, and there's a clause in there that keeps him as the highest paid OC in the SEC. Like,
I mean, that's
that every single time that there has been an opportunity for LSU to prove that money ain't a problem, they've proved money ain't a problem. Speaking of Lane Kiffin's LSU coaching staff, as we turn the page conversationally, I did see something put out by Michael Katz yesterday. He put out the binding memorandum of understanding, the MOU, that we've talked. I've literally never heard of
Because it doesn't
until now.
They're not real.
But it's just crazy. Like, I just
Right.
hadn't even.
They came up with a great name.
So the MOU between Ole Miss, or the University of Mississippi, the Ole Miss Athletics Foundation, and Pete Golding. He puts this out. that goes through. It starts, year one, 6.8 million, year two, 6.9, then 7, then 7.1, then 7.2 through the 5 years of the MOU. He also then said in the tweet, I have received Ole Miss head coach Pete Golding's term sheet today. I also received term sheets for John David Baker, Jake Schoonover, Brian Brown, Matt Kitchens, Jay Shoup, John Garrison, Randall Joyner, Joe Judge, Wes Neighbors, and Kevin Smith.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Smith, if you do not recognize that name, you should recognize that name, is the running backs coach at Ole Miss, who was with Lane at FAU, came with him over to Ole Miss, has been at Ole Miss, got Kewan Lacey there. It's Kewan Lacey. And this has been part of the conversation around LSU, maybe kind of the forefront outside of the D-line coach. Those are the two spots you're looking to fill right now.
It was
you need
almost
a
an
running backs
assumption.
coach,
Yeah.
you need a D-line coach. The expectation, like you said, was Kevin Smith. I mean, they've been together 9 years. Going to follow him to LSU. You've heard the reports. Sent his wife to Baton Rouge to tour the town, check everything out, see what it's about. But was staying in Ole Miss, did not get on that original plane ride with the staff from Oxford to Baton Rouge. But I do think there was just kind of everyone's thought process was he's ultimately going to follow Kiffin to Baton Rouge. He's just going to finish this thing through.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what, when we talked about yesterday, that's what the timeline we felt was when you heard Frank speak the other day, because this is also where the Frank Wilson conversation applies. If he was bringing Kevin Smith over, that would obviously mean that Frank doesn't have an on-field coaching position, and we'll see, where that ends up putting him, likely away from LSU. Texas fired their running backs coach, Jabbar Jalouk, Frank Wilson. Both of those names have popped up around that one. But ultimately, this term sheet, this isn't binding that Michael Katz received a term sheet. It's not saying that it's set in stone that Kevin Smith does not go to LSU, but it's definitely not nothing, right? This isn't something you read and then just go, brush that off, doesn't mean anything.
None of the guys that are, because they still have a bunch of guys that are going to coach there through the playoff and the offensive staff. None of those guys are getting term sheets, right? Guys that have been linked with us that are officially kind of coming here, right? None of them got one.
Interesting you mentioned that, as this popped yesterday.
Right, the contract. Well, no, he's saying like that the Ole Miss isn't sending in a term sheet of the guys that have been tied to LSU.
Right, the position
like
coach
this
is
list
not
of Ole Miss's
not
term
Weiss,
sheets are all, none of the guys that have gone from Oxford to Baton Rouge are on this list.
They were trying. That's why he got a pay bump.
Sure, but
Went up
Yeah,
and
yeah.
So they are
I
actively
mean,
trying to.
I guarantee you they were trying, but I mean, like,
Yeah, no, those guys were on the list, but I think they
none of
wanted.
our-
They were trying to do that before they had to make that. What is it called? An MOA, MOE,
MOU.
MOU, IOU, UCMEP, ICP, Insane Clown Posse. But yeah, clearly that they thought they had a chance with Charlie Weiss to be able to, once he got back to Ole Miss, that they were going to
like,
convince
don't
him
you
to
like
stay.
it? Here's the money.
But it is, and that's why MOU, like, doesn't mean anything, because he had one with LSU that was allegedly binding for 3 years, $6 million. Like, that was the contract. You signed an MOU saying that you couldn't go to Ole Miss with the intent to take a job. Ole Miss offers a job, and he went back to the table, and they said, LSU, okay, we'll give you an extra $1.5 million if you stay. So
Sure.
that's clearly, I would imagine, some sort of tampering, but nobody's going to care. So if
Right,
LSU wants Kevin Smith bad enough, they can still go and get him.
Yes, 100%.
I'm just saying, but like
this
there's
being-
a clear line between guys that have said, okay, yeah, I'm coming to LSU, but I'm gonna stick around and do this for the last, and then guys were like thinking, oh,
Right.
I hope they might come.
Yeah, it's not nothing
There's no
that
crossover
Kevin
there.
Smith
Right.
has a term sheet that
Right.
at Ole Miss, right? It's not nothing. And so that then creates the conversation of, if he doesn't come over from Ole Miss and join Lane Kiffin's staff, which, like we said, like Lloyd just said, still very possible. This is not the end-all, be-all, this is over, right? That he is staying in Oxford. That's not what this term sheet is. It's not a signed contract. But like we said, there is a clear line that Charlie Weiss Jr., Joe Cox, go down, George McDonald, go down the list of the guys that are in Baton Rouge. They're not listed in these names of term sheets. Kevin Smith is, right? Which would lead you to believe there's a likelihood he stays in Oxford. And that then begs the conversation of what does LSU do at running backs coach? And I think that's pretty obvious, right? If Kevin Smith doesn't come over, like we operated yesterday when we spoke about it, it was you go get Kevin Smith. If he comes, he comes. Frank, we'll see what happens there. If he doesn't and he stays in Oxford, your backup plan is Frank. Like it's essentially Frank or Kevin Smith is where you would take it right now?
Absolutely. It's one of the two.
Right.
And I think the reason that he didn't leave the first time, but obviously his family did, I think Lane really did have pure intentions of going, you stay. You're obviously going to, if you want to be the running back coach with me, you're always welcome. But I do want to have somebody here that can at least give me, first of all, some information because they're boys.
The loop.
And I think he really did want what's best for Ole Miss, and a guy over there that he'd say, like, all right, at least I have somebody there that can still keep an eye on the program and, like, try to do something as opposed to, because I'm taking the rest of the staff, but you leave one guy that you trust over there to at least do what's best for Ole Miss. And obviously it works out that they get all of the staff because Ole Miss looked around, said, how are we going to do this?
Right.
And LSU didn't have to let this happen. And you can see that this is why you probably shouldn't have, because the Charlie Weiss Jr. deal is what you're playing with. You're playing with fire. Of, like, somebody might get convinced to stay.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I mean, like there are, and those conversations were real. Like that, there is a fear that they could end up at Ole Miss. They go on this run because they got, like we said, a pretty favorable draw. The team did. Now they have the staff back, and it's still going to be different without Lane Kiffin. I don't want to act like it just because the offensive staff is back. It's just going to go back to this machine that was humming, right? They have not played a game without Lane Kiffin as their head football coach. We've never seen that.
And you can't act like that's not going to matter.
Right.
Like, you know, I mean, like, yeah,
as much as
the
they've
system,
got the offensive
blah,
staff,
blah, blah,
right.
blah, blah, but it's still like, this is the guy that hyped you up. This is the guy that, you know, ran you through practices. This is, you know, I mean, that person not being there is, it's like if you weren't here, no.
I appreciate that.
And then, you know, we do a show tomorrow. Yeah, we know the game plan. We know what to do. It's going to be fucking different, though.
You know how it goes.
I'm not going to like it.
Yeah, no. So, I mean, I think
people wouldn't.
Some weirdo sitting there. Lloyd sitting there? Rock hard on the table? I don't want that.
My back is...
You are in pain. Over
Yeah.
That is weird.
Yeah, you're not even like...
You're not doing well.
You're not even having fun with boner jokes, man.
We will have
I can't breathe.
Glen West join us from 24/7 Sports. So he covers the Tigers at Go 24/7 in about 7 minutes this morning. 8 a.m. this morning he'll join us. And then at 8:30 this morning, right after we finish our interview with Glenn, assistant women's basketball coach Joe Schwartz will be in studio to talk some LSU women's basketball as the Tigers are rocking and rolling this season.
I thought you were going to say what he said.
No, I was not going to say that.
No.
They're rolling through this 2025-2026 season up to this point. The non-con has been, I'm not going to say easy, but easy for LSU women's basketball as they've just scored 100 points on everybody except Duke. And they had a chance. They scored 93, I think.
Yep.
You know, and then they go out against UNO this past weekend. They ball out 112 or something points. They will play this Saturday. Is a pretty exciting day in the city of New Orleans, right? You've got Edna Carr, St. Aug at, well, first you have, I think it's Ruston and, I forget who they play, West Washita Parish. Washita and Ruston early in the day, I think at noon. Then at 3:30, it's this is the real game. Edna Carr versus St. Aug in the Dome, right? At 5 p.m., you then have LSU women's basketball versus Louisiana Tech. After that, I believe at 7 or 7:30, you've got LSU men's basketball versus SMU, which is a really good opportunity for the men's basketball team to get back on track, get some excitement back, and hopefully have a real draw fan base-wise because you're kind of following right after the women's basketball team, which, as of right now, brings more of a draw. So an exciting day in New Orleans on Saturday. Obviously, state championships start tonight. It's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, how the LHSA state championships go. But that 3:30 game on Saturday, Edna Carr, St. Aug in the Dome, it's going to be unbelievable. if you can go, and then right after that you can go watch some LSU basketball in the Smoothie King Center right across the street. We will have Glen West join us in about 5 minutes. And like we said, assistant coach Joe Schwartz right after that. Don't forget, every single day we are brought to you by AJ Sports Cards. I'm going to bring more attention to this Saturday, as from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., AJ Sports Cards, which is obviously located right there on Drusilla Lane, 3348 is where the store is located. But this Saturday at Elite Training Academy Baton Rouge, which is right there on Burbank, it's right across from the Surge Entertainment on Burbank, the Elite Training Academy, 5414 Burbank Drive to be exact, is hosting the Baton Rouge Card Fest. Shout out to AJ Sports Cards. Us three went to the last one they put together. It was awesome. I think the reason they're going into the Elite Football Academy is because it was jam-packed at the Crown Plaza last time when we were there. This is going to be more space. They're probably going to have more vendors, more people. It's $5 admission. You see it on the flyer right here, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. this Saturday. And you have the opportunity to meet 4 really cool guys. If you're an LSU fan, it's hard to not want to go meet the #1 running back out of New Orleans from the class of, 2014?
I thought you meant us and Wyatt.
Huh?
I thought you meant us and Wyatt.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you can meet us, too. And then the #1 running back in the class of 2024 in Harlem Berry out of New Orleans. And then 2 national champions right there, Ethan Fry, Daniel Dickinson. Leonard Fournette, Harlem Berry, Ethan Fry, Daniel Dickinson. Pretty cool collection of LSU talent right there at the Baton Rouge Card Fest this Saturday. Go check it out on Saturday. We will take a quick break here as we approach 8 a.m. and we'll be joined by Glen West of Go 24/7 right after this.
Wardos was created in honor of Alan Ward Granning III, fondly known by family and friends as Wardo. In 2019, the oldest brother of the tribe passed away unexpectedly. His remaining siblings and loved ones wanted to honor his memory in a special way. In 2022, Ward's family decided to combine the need for a sandwich shop in downtown Natchez with a desire to pay tribute to Ward's love of good friends, good times, and great food. Through blood, sweat, tears, and countless hours of hard work, Wardo's was born. So go visit Wardo's today at 309 North Broadway Street in Natchez, where the po' boys are so good, you'll swear you're in Cajun country.
Hey, Miss Lou, come visit us, Tom and Wright Granning at Go Martin on the Go Deli.
Go Mart has clean restrooms, community coffee, an awesome beer cave, and a great selection of anything you may need.
Located at the corner of Highland Boulevard and Highway 61 South in Natchez.
Also stop by Wardo's Po' Boys at 309 North Broadway on the beautiful Natchez Bluff.
Where everyone is family.
When it comes to your home, the roof over your head matters. At CAS Roofing, we don't just install shingles, we build peace of mind. With years of experience and a commitment to craftsmanship, our team shows up on time, gets the job done right, and treats every project like it's our own home. Whether it's a repair, a replacement, or storm damage that caught you off guard, CAS Roofing is ready. We're local, we're dependable, and we stand behind every nail, every shingle, and every promise we make. Because at the end of the day, it's not just about roofing, it's about protecting what matters most. CAS Roofing, built on trust, backed by quality.
I'm Tom Granning with Go Mart and Wardo's Po' Boys in Natchez, Mississippi. On behalf of the Granning family, we invite you to run, stroll, or walk in the 4th annual Wardo's Rudolph Roll. Held on the beautiful Natchez Bluff, this holiday event keeps a 10K, 5K, and 1 mile kids run. The Rudolph Run supports the Ward Granning Memorial Scholarship, which has awarded over $20,000 to local high school seniors since 2020. Along with the race, enjoy live music, drinks, and of course, po' boys. For more information, check out Wardo's Facebook page. Hope to see y'all there.
All right, welcome back here as we open up hour number 2 with continuing the LSU and college football conversation this morning. We had a super chat from Charlie Oliver at Charlie Oliver 574, $2 super chat. Time to tamper with Underwood. Let's go. Of course, we will continue the Bryce Underwood conversation here soon as we give Charlie Oliver 2 claps. Ready. But we were joined by Glen West from 24/7 Sports as he covers the Tigers over there at Go 24/7, is doing great work in what has been quite the last couple of weeks covering – what?
Quite the sight.
Yes, quite the sight. There you go. The last couple of weeks. Glenn, we appreciate your time. Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Hey guys, good morning. I was just getting off the our Michigan site's message board.
What's that like?
Great. It's a great time to join the Go 24/7 community. You can read every single message board in the college football world, and it's crazy over there right now. It's really an interesting time.
I mean, this is what message boards are made for.
Oh my God.
This is perfect.
Yeah. Oh God, yes, yeah, absolutely.
I have these text messages. I saw this. My uncle knows. Like, it's a wild time.
I love the uncle.
Yeah.
I love the uncle message.
Was there something that stood out specifically from the Michigan message board that caught your eye?
It's just the craziness of the whole situation. I think of how quickly that went down, and there had been apparently some rumors of this going on, but when it was all put out in the open yesterday, certainly Michigan fans were, the first to start running towards, some of their big name coaches that they want to see at Michigan, and just kind of the ripple effect that can create across college football with the different options that are available there. That's the most interesting part to me. It's kind of not necessarily who takes on the Michigan job, but just what ripple effect that might take depending on who that coach is.
And so I'll ask you, because we talked about the ripple effect a little bit this morning, and how it kind of pertains to LSU, because there are a few connections maybe to LSU. I think one that some people thought about is maybe Brian Kelly gets hired at Michigan. But the two more prominent –
somebody help.
The two more prominent connections to LSU that I want to ask you about are Kalen DeBoer's name has come up a lot around the Michigan job, which will then open up Alabama. And obviously everyone's favorite jab is to say, oh, well, now Lane Kiffin's going to leave LSU at the altar for Bama. And then ultimately Bryce Underwood, former LSU commit, is at Michigan, and maybe some question marks around his future there.
Yeah, look, I think the DeBoer stuff is certainly going to be something that is kicked around at Michigan. Like, I think that just watching and reading a lot of the pieces that our guys up there are writing right now, that certainly appears to be one of the preferred candidates, which you're right, could create some of that ripple effect there if the Alabama job does come open. I would be shocked if the Lane Kiffin stuff with Alabama has any merit to it. I mean, I don't think that would just. It's kind of so hard to believe that it's hard to wrap my mind around at the same time. Like, just the guy going from Ole Miss to LSU and LSU to Alabama. Like, I just don't see there's any way that happens. And so, as far as the Bryce Underwood stuff, though, like, I do think that he's a quarterback. And look, Kiffin is the ultimate troll, right? I guess when it comes to social media, and I'm still getting used to the idea of covering a coach that has such a strong social media presence. And so you look at your phone last night and you see the the Bryce Underwood, or the tweet at, I guess, Dave Portnoy, and it's referencing to Bryce Underwood about coming to LSU and things of that nature. Like, I think LSU would kick the tires there if there was anything to do with that. But look, I do think that Underwood at the same time is getting paid $3 million a year to be at Michigan right now, and coming off the season that he just had at Michigan, I don't think there's any team that would pay him that kind of cash to come out of the transfer portal. So, I think for him, unless he really wants to put development first and put development as like his key part of this college experience over the next couple of years, I would imagine Michigan holds on to him as well. And they go out there and find an offensive-minded head coach and try to develop him quickly, because he's got a lot of talent, and I still believe that. But you certainly watched last year, and it didn't seem like he maximized it, or Michigan maximized it his first year in college.
And speaking of the quarterback position and Lane Kiffin, we obviously are looking forward to the transfer portal, which opens up in a handful of weeks. I think January 2nd through the 16th is when it'll open up, and that's got to be task number one right on that list is go find your quarterback. Sam Levitt's name has popped up a few times. Now the Bryce Underwood question marks and mess around there, and obviously Trinidad Chambliss, Austin Simmons, their names have popped up around the potential future quarterback at LSU. Is there anything you are hearing or maybe just kind of expecting when it comes to the portal and the quarterback position for Lane Kiffin?
I think they're going to have to go out and grab at least two. I really do. I think, look, the Michael Van Buren is really the only quarterback on this roster that you could realistically see back in purple and gold next year. And I think just watching these last several games with him under center, it's pretty clear that he still needs some development to get to a place where he can be a winning conference quarterback. So I think LSU, you got to go out and you've got to find a short-term answer, and then you got to find maybe a longer-term answer too, which is going to cost, and it's going to be you're going to have to put up a lot of money for it. I think Levitt's name out of Arizona State is one you're going to continue to hear until the transfer portal opens on January 2nd. The interesting thing about him is he's got that Lisfranc injury that he's going to be coming off of, and that's something that he tried to play through for a little bit and apparently made worse. And those are injuries that are just really, really hard to know just how mobile you'll come back and how quickly you can come back, because there's just not a whole lot of blood flow that goes down to that part of the foot and that part of your body. So he's looking at a 5 to 6 month recovery time from everything that I've seen and read. So that's interesting because, if you take all that into account, you're talking about a quarterback who, if you take from the portal, could miss a lot of the spring, could miss some key portions of your offseason there. And so, but I do think he's immensely talented. I think LSU, if they have the right opportunity, that they will try to go after him. I think, to your point, Chambliss, if he gets that extra waiver year, I think that's kind of a coin toss right now to see if he does actually get that waiver season, that extra year. But certainly makes a lot of sense for LSU, for Lane Kiffin and LSU to go, attack him in the portal if that's an option. So there's a lot of different areas that I think LSU can go at quarterback, but I think you got to start by finding a short-term answer, a guy that can help you in 2026 to get things back on pace for an offense, for the LSU offense, and then maybe finding a younger player that has maybe a little bit of experience, but hasn't really quite developed yet in the way that he hoped, and that you can kind of convince to say, hey, if you come here and you develop for a year, you have an opportunity to come compete for the starting job in 2027. Somebody like that, I think would make a lot of sense for as a second quarterback take out of the portal.
And speaking of the portal, LSU has had a handful of portal entries, that said they plan to enter the portal. But they've had two key contributors over the last couple of days that have announced their plans to enter in Jawan Johnson and Ahmad Bro. What are your takes on those two entries and kind of that situation and kind of where that leaves LSU right now?
Yeah, I think from a short-term perspective, it's interesting because, both of those guys are going to play in the bowl game. Ahmad and Jawan have both said that they're going to play in the bowl game, and I think that's good for them in their future, just to get some extra tape on the film there if they're able to go out there and play well in the Texas Bowl here in a couple weeks. But I think from I guess we can start with Bro. From a defensive line perspective, you have some really great young talent coming in. Obviously, the guys that we've talked about with Lamar Brown, Richard Anderson, Deuce Geralds. You've got some interesting young pieces in Dominic McKinley, who's still developing. You've got Walter Mathis. Zion Williams is a guy that I think is very interesting from a long-term perspective. But, you don't really know on this current roster how many of those players are going to return, because you're still trying to find your next defensive line coach. And I think the same can be said for running backs, right? There's still some up in the air about what's going to happen at those two positions. And so, I wouldn't be surprised if more defensive linemen hop into the portal. I wouldn't be surprised if Caleb Jackson or maybe even a Caden Durham hop into the portal from a running back perspective. I think that those two position groups right now, they got to figure out who's going to be their coach next year, and then lay out a plan for some of these guys that to convince to return to the program if when those hires are made. So that's kind of my bigger takeaway here is just guys, I don't think we're done seeing portal entries at those two positions, but certainly Ahmad Bro is a guy that was a major solid contributor for you for 2 years. You would have loved to have seen him stay because I also think he was a pretty good leader, a good locker room presence there. And then Juwan Johnson was just kind of that Swiss Army knife for you in the backfield, and just never felt like they found the right way to utilize him the first couple of years. And I would have been interested to see kind of how Lane Kiffin would utilize a player like that, because I do think he has a lot of athletic ability, a lot of talent, and it would have been interesting to see just kind of how he would adapt to a Lane Kiffin run offense.
And if it feels like you said, never really had a position, but if it does feel like he wants to go play quarterback, where do you think he would end up? What kind of, competition level would it be for him to be able to try his hand at quarterback? I just say that because of everything he's posted on Twitter. He always says, he's acting like he didn't really get a fair shake at quarterback. He obviously moved to that position at LSU, and then it got moved around again. So I'm just wondering what you think his skill set would be and what type of competition it would be if he played quarterback.
Yeah, I want to be fair to him because,
elite athlete.
We only got to see, he's a great athlete, and we only got to see him for a little bit in, the spring and fall from a quarterback perspective. I think there's a lot of development that needs to happen there with Juwan, and so I'm not sure that, if you're a Power 4 school, you're going to be going out there looking for Juwan Johnson as a quarterback, but, a group of 5 or, maybe a little lower, just go somewhere where you can develop as a quarterback and get some playing experience, and then maybe, in a year or two when you have some good tape and some good experience under your belt, maybe you can try to hop back in the portal and see if there's a bigger school that'll take a chance on you. I just don't see if he wants to truly play quarterback, what kind of Power 4 opportunities are going to be there for him. But maybe I'm wrong. I mean, maybe there's a team out there that does feel like he could be a future quarterback and can develop him in that way. And but I just from what I saw, and you guys are out at the practices too, it looked like he was still trying to figure it out from a college perspective of how to play quarterback.
Because I do think there's a role that he still has his red shirt. So if you want to take a flyer on him for a year, let him learn the position, that would be the route I see at a bigger school.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and that would be something to consider for sure. But there just needs to be more work done there, I think, before he can realistically go on the field for a Power 4 program and help them win games. So, but we'll see. I mean, I like I said, I love the talent. I like the athletic ability, and the all-time leader in Louisiana high school sports in yards. So when you're doing something right there if you're able to do that throughout a 4-year career.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. And you brought up the open or the coaching positions, the running backs coach and the defensive line coach. I want to start at D-line coach. When we talked last week, Elijah Robinson's name was the name. Seemed like that was kind of done in a sense, not officially done, but that was what was going to be happening, and that changed rather quickly. If LSU doesn't get Elijah Robinson, what are some of the other names you're hearing, and where is the current standing with the Elijah Robinson situation?
Yeah, I think we're still kind of in limbo there. Hopefully that decision gets made soon, and if it's LSU, great, and if it's not, you have to pivot quickly if you're Lane Kiffin. And I think, from my perspective here, we haven't heard a whole ton of outside names, in the last couple days since this has happened. But, I think one option could be just to promote Chris Kiffin and make him the defensive line coach. He came over to Oxford with Lane. I think he's somebody that has, several opportunities as a defensive line coach at the NFL level and at the college level. I think most recently he was a defensive line coach with the Houston Texans several years ago. I think he did the same thing for the Cleveland Browns when Myles Garrett was very early in his career. So he's worked with some really good players, worked with some really strong defensive linemen throughout his career, and I think they could do a lot worse than Chris Kiffin if they were just to go out on the open market and just try to bring in somebody just to bring in somebody from the outside. Like I think that it was good for Kiffin to take the big swing on Robinson, and if you land him, great. But if not, then I do think that Chris Kiffin is a good option for you too if that's what LSU and Lane Kiffin decides to do. I know everybody wants to know about Ed Orgeron. I don't think that at this time is going to be the move that Lane Kiffin makes. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he does decide that he wants some more Louisiana flavor in here to help from a recruiting perspective. But that's a name that I think has certainly cooled. I think in the last several weeks since he took the job, and has gone after guys like Robinson, and certainly I think a lot of the focus also in week one was just making sure that he could retain Baker and the majority of this defensive staff, which is I think the most important thing that he's done so far.
And then at the running backs coach position, you quote tweeted it yesterday that Michael Katz put out the term sheets he received over at Ole Miss for Pete Golding, some other coaches, and Kevin Smith was included in that list. Obviously, that is not anything set in stone, but at the current standing with Kevin Smith, what are you hearing? And if he does opt to stay in Oxford, is it just Frank Wilson stays at running backs coach, or is there anything else that maybe happens for LSU?
Yeah, I think I quote tweeted it. It's not nothing. I mean, the term sheet stuff is certainly not binding contract or anything like that, but it's not nothing that Ole Miss at least is making a real push to try to keep Kevin Smith in Oxford here going forward. And I think that's the big question, right? If he stays, what does Lane Kiffin ultimately decide to do with that position? And I do think that from a local media perspective, from a local fan base perspective, there are a lot of supporters of Frank Wilson, and certainly at the high school level when you talk about recruiting and down in the New Orleans area where you're going to have to go in and get some big time recruits here over the next several years. It just makes all the sense in the world to keep Frank on staff. But look, Kiffin was paid money to make these kinds of decisions, and if he really wanted Frank Wilson to be the running backs coach, that's a decision you feel like would have been announced already. And so maybe he was just holding out to see what happens with Kevin Smith, and if Kevin Smith says no, then it just makes sense to slide Frank in. But if not, you could start looking elsewhere and start making a more broader search. And look, the Michigan job just opened up, and a lot of those coaches are on the market right now and probably not knowing what their future is going to hold. Tony Alford's one of the highest paid running backs coaches in the country. He's certainly done a nice job with running backs up in Michigan for a while now. Maybe you make a call there to try to get a big splash, but I just think from a Louisiana perspective and a Louisiana recruiting perspective, LSU has one of the best in the business from that perspective. And, I would certainly hate to see Frank Wilson go if Kiffin doesn't get his guy. It's one thing if Kiffin gets his guy and the guy that he trusts and the guy that he thinks can help carry forward, the running back room here under his leadership. But if he doesn't get Kevin Smith, then I do think it's a real conversation that he has to have, or just a real, kind of thought process he needs to go through as to, okay, everybody's telling me about Frank Wilson. I know Frank Wilson a little bit, from a 2009 coaching staff perspective. I've worked with him before. Is this the best move for me to make? And that's really, I think, the decision that will have to be made after that bowl game. And so, we'll see. It sounds like they're still having conversations, which is good. But right now, I'm still kind of on the fence about whether or not Kiffin decides to keep Wilson on staff.
And then last question I have about the staff. Blake Baker, obviously, I think we spoke last Friday. It was announced Friday evening. Blake Baker is returning, opted not to go to Tulane or Memphis, is returning as LSU's defensive coordinator. That feels like a pretty big deal, huh?
Oh, yeah. No, like I just said, I think it's the biggest thing that Lane Kiffin's done here in the first, 2 weeks on the job is being able to retain this defensive staff for the most part, with Baker, and then, kind of the pieces that align afterwards with Raymond and Jake Olson and Kevin Peoples. those guys did a tremendous job of getting this defense up to snuff. It was from 2 years ago when it was outside the top 100 in a lot of statistical categories, and making it to a top 25 defense this year. I think the most important part in doing that and being able to retain Baker here in the month of December is now you have really a 3-week period where Blake Baker and Kevin Peoples and all these defensive guys can really get to know Lane Kiffin and his front office guys, and they can really have conversations about the players that they want to attack and the plan that they want to attack in the transfer portal, with making sure that that defensive side of the ball doesn't slip, because let's face it, you're going to be losing a lot of your starters this year. I mean, Jack Pyburn, Patrick Payton, Harold Perkins, Monsieur Delane, AJ Halsey. Those are just a couple of the guys that played big time roles for you this year. And you're going to have to replace all of their production, all of their time on the field. And I think, some of that you hope can be done with internal development on the roster if you're able to get guys to stick around. But you're also going to have to go out and find some veteran experience at the Power 4 level. And I think having Baker and having this defensive staff and this nucleus in place is going to really help over the next 3 weeks make a lot of those decisions.
Well, Glenn, we appreciate your time and all your insight, as always, and we'll talk to you again soon.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There he is, Glen West from 24/7 Sports. Great stuff, as always. I mean, he crushes it, and I agree. I mean, I think the biggest news that could have came out did come out, and that's that Blake Baker staying at LSU. It's massive for not only the future of this program, but really the immediate. And like Glenn said, this stretch of time between now and the bowl game where they get to be in the facility together and spend the time and kind of discuss the plans of action for when you get past the bowl game and you look ahead to the transfer portal and those things that kind of follow suit getting ready for 2026 are going to be vital. I mean, LSU plays on December 27th against Houston in a night kick, and then the portal opens up that next Friday. So they play on Saturday, the portal opens up Friday. So less than a week after you wrap up that game, the transfer portal opens, and that is going to be a huge 2-week stretch for 2026 LSU football. I mean, I don't think it can be understated how much key pieces of your roster next season are going to come out of that 2-week stretch. When you talk about quarterback, potentially running back, we'll see how some of these things shake out. Defensive positions, like Glenn said, key parts of next year's team, much like this past season, are going to be transfer portal pieces. Now, you have some good pieces that you hopefully can hold on to, a Trades Green, a Harlan Berry, DJ Pickett, PJ Woodland, a Dominic McKinley, a Gabe Relaford, Deshaun Spears. Go down the list of these guys that are talented that you can retain and keep them in the purple and gold. But key pieces, most notably the quarterback, are going to be found in that 2-week stretch. So you're going to continue to prep for the bowl game, but like you said, really, really cool opportunity for them to kind of bond and talk and sit down and kind of see things similarly over the next couple of weeks to get prepared for that portal window. During that interview, there was some news that came out from Hayes Fawcett at On3. Texas defensive back Derek Williams Jr. plans to enter the transfer portal.
I know that name.
On3 Sports through 3 seasons. He sold 75 tackles, 2 passes defended, an interception, and a forced fumble. He was a former top 60 recruit and will have 2 years of eligibility left. If you recognize the name, you're not sure why, he was a 4-star safety from Westgate High School in New Iberia, Louisiana. Obviously, I think he was the number 3 player in Louisiana, number 4 safety in the country. Maybe those numbers are flawed, but he was a top 60 recruit, extremely talented, was a baller at Westgate. And I remember when LSU wasn't able to get that across the finish line, it was one of those that was very unfortunate because he was extremely talented. I think, what class was he a part of? Was it the
2023
class? So it was that 2023 class that LSU ended up missing on a handful of prospects. That was a big class in state, and they were not able to get Derek Williams Jr. at a position of need. That was the biggest stressor about not getting him there was because your safety play had not been up to par, and you had a stud at safety in the state of Louisiana. You couldn't get that deal done. I'm not saying they're going to go after him, but I just that's a name that I recognize, saw it pop up, and he's obviously pretty talented. We'll see how that ends up shaking out.
That would be fun.
It would be fun. It would be fun. We will.
Speaking of fun.
What you got?
Oh, no. Women's basketball.
Oh, yeah.
Joe Schwartz.
Yeah, we're about to have Joe Schwartz
segue
join us in about 5 minutes to talk women's basketball, which, like Lloyd said, very, very fun is that team. And we talked about it with Jacques yesterday. He brought it up about this women's basketball team in Baton Rouge. And I don't know if it's the best team Mulkey's had, just because there is one that's won a national championship, but watching it, the way the talent is spread out, the way the team flows, pretty talented.
It's the most fun team to watch.
It's definitely been exciting.
Comfortable saying
and they obviously are coming off. The last time we talked to Coach, it was before the Duke game. LSU scores 93, Duke 77. Then they again play this past Sunday. LSU 126 to UNO 62. They will face Louisiana Tech this Saturday, who is 5-3. Obviously, Mulkey's alma mater. Louisiana Tech has beaten Grambling, South Alabama. They've also beaten Louisiana Christian, Arkansas Pine Bluff, Stephen F. Austin, and have lost games to Arkansas, who they kind of hung around with. They lost by 12, 93-81. They lost to UL Monroe in a tight one, and then got throttled by Baylor at the end of November. So we'll see how it looks on Saturday. Should be an exciting day, and we will get you ready for it with Coach Joe Schwartz in about 3 minutes. So we'll take a quick break here and come back with Coach Schwartz. Schwartzy will join us to talk LSU women's basketball, get you ready for this weekend right after this.
Wardo's was created in honor of Alan Ward Granning III, fondly known by family and friends as Wardo. In 2019, the oldest brother of the tribe passed away unexpectedly. His remaining siblings and loved ones wanted to honor his memory in a special way. In 2022, Ward's family decided to combine the need for a sandwich shop in downtown Natchez with a desire to pay tribute to Ward's love of good friends, good times, and great food. Through blood, sweat, tears, and countless hours of hard work, Wardo's was born. So go visit Wardo's today at 309 North Broadway Street in Natchez, where the po' boys are so good, you'll swear you're in Cajun country.
Hey, Miss Lou, come visit us, Tom and Wright Granding at Go Martin on the Go Deli.
Go Martin has clean restrooms, community coffee, an awesome beer cave, and a great selection of anything you may need.
Located at the corner of Highland Boulevard and Highway 61 South in Natchez.
Also stop by Wardo's Po' Boys at 309 North Broadway on the beautiful Natchez Bluff.
Where everyone is family.
When it comes to your home, the roof over your head matters. At CAS Roofing, we don't just install shingles, we build peace of mind. With years of experience and a commitment to craftsmanship, our team shows up on time, gets the job done right, and treats every project like it's our own home. Whether it's repair, a replacement, or storm damage that caught you off guard, CAS Roofing is ready. We're local, we're dependable, and we stand behind every nail, every shingle, and every promise we make. Because at the end of the day, it's not just about roofing, it's about protecting what matters most. CAS Roofing, built on trust, backed by quality.
I'm Tom Granning with Go Martin, Wardo's Po' Boys in Natchez, Mississippi. On behalf of the Granning family, we invite you to run, stroll, or walk in the 4th annual Wardo's Rudolph Roll. Held on the beautiful Natchez Bluff, this holiday event keeps a 10K, 5K, and 1 mile kids run. The Rudolph Run supports the Ward Granning Memorial Scholarship, which has awarded over $20,000 to local high school seniors since 2020. Along with the race, enjoy live music, drinks, and of course, po' boys. For more information, check out Wardo's Facebook page. Hope to see y'all there.
All right, welcome back. We are waiting for Coach to arrive. Just sent out a text to let me know when he gets here. But the door's open and ready for whenever he arrives. But this is very interesting. Kalen DeBoer's buyout, if he left Alabama for another job, is pretty cheap.
That's not expensive at all.
Not expensive whatsoever.
It's almost as if he gave himself an out. That's
in 2025, $4 million, 2026, $3 million. It was like, somebody come save me if I need it.
If I don't like it here, it will not be expensive to come save me.
It's come get me from summer camp numbers.
Yeah, like I'm at my friend's sleepover. I'm not sure if we're friends yet.
Right.
And
I'm going to stay the night, but now I'm calling my mom in the middle of the night.
Right.
I guess
What if
ultimately
I wet my
it's
bed?
not bad for Alabama. Like, they wouldn't be upset.
That's what I'm
about
saying.
doing
Like,
that
everybody's
because
agreed to this.
It also means if you suck, we only have to spend $4 million to get you out of here.
Or if you go to the college football playoff in your second year and the SEC championship in your second year, and we just still don't like you.
Yeah, just because
I don't know
we're
why.
difficult. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it is a tough place. Because did I read it right? They had 10 players that were hurt going into the SEC championship versus Georgia. Like, they were shook
Banged up.
Yeah, like, I mean, that wasn't the full force.
They still shouldn't have gotten that playoff spot. We can all agree on
think
that,
so?
right?
No, I disagree.
You think they should have?
I think, obviously, like, my thought process, like, yes, they looked bad against Georgia. That makes them look like not one of the 12 best teams.
Sure. That I think it's just the number of losses alone.
Really, 2 losses or 3
3?
losses?
Yeah.
No, you don't.
I just to me, you have to look at them as a 2-loss team,
Right.
Because they had to play an extra game everyone else didn't have to. Like that's the
fine.
part that sucks, because like a 3-loss team shouldn't get in. And Clemson was a 3-loss team last year, right? But they won
That's
their
true.
conference championship.
but they won that
ultimately.
game, yeah.
And so like
I just feel like you give it to somebody,
Give it to somebody.
spread it around.
They're already doing that. We have 2 group of 5 teams then.
who would you like?
Vanderbilt and Notre Dame.
They
Well,
didn't-
see, Vanderbilt, the biggest knock is that they played head to head. Alabama won.
Yeah.
Right.
I get that.
Notre Dame.
They didn't play in the conference championship
They didn't
game.
play in the championship
and they
game.
lost their 2.
No, and I
the 2
understand,
games
I
that they-
understand
Right.
but it's just I
I'm
don't
not,
know.
I'm not trying to.
I know, and I know why they're doing it, right? I mean,
Right.
it's
They're one of the 12 best teams.
that's part of it, but I think it's also viewings, right? Viewership numbers.
Of course.
You're gonna get more guys traveling, but I don't know. I just think like you have a team like Vanderbilt that has a shot. I know they actually finished way down there in 14th, so they
Right.
really didn't actually have a shot. But I don't know. Just have some fun.
No, I mean,
Fuck it, Alabama gets to go all the time.
yeah, but
Let somebody else have a try.
No, I get it. Like I'm with you. Like I would have rathered Vanderbilt get in. Like I would have rathered watch that. Like give them a chance. Like reward them for the fact
Yeah.
that they're actually in the conversation.
Right. But Bama's better.
But this is where the conference championship part is very intriguing to me because
because why'd you punish BYU?
yeah, and BYU's already on the outside looking in anyways.
But if they win, they get in.
But if they win, they get in, right? And so it's just these games are just extremely flawed in the fact that one, you're having to play an extra game, which can lead to injuries like Carson Beck last season, where they have to play Gunnar Stockton in the playoff and they ultimately lose to Notre Dame. And you just look at the way it can have an effect on the team that wins can get in. If Bama wins that game, they're viewed as this world beater. They might jump into the top 4, right? But they don't, and so then it's like, oh, not only they lose, they look bad. They shouldn't be in, but A&M and Ole Miss didn't have to play that game, and so like I don't know what's going to happen with them. And I told this to Lloyd the other day, and you might actually like this thought process. I was talking to somebody, and they were like, when you look at conference championship games, you should change the model to where, say 4 teams are going to get in from the SEC, or 3 teams are set to get in. The SEC championship game should just become a play-in game for the team ranked 4th and 5th.
Sick.
And so then you have your 3. So like this year, the top 3 would have been what? It would have been Alabama, Georgia, A&M. Those 3 automatically in. Okay, Ole Miss and
Vandy.
Oklahoma or Vandy or whoever it would be have to play to get in that 4th spot.
I fucking love that.
Yeah. And so, because I mean, at least that.
And then the regular season champion is the champion.
Right, yeah, no, I agree.
You played all the games. You did the best on your
especially
schedule.
now that you're going to play 9 conference.
Yeah.
Like a team's going to end up playing 10 SEC games. 2 teams are.
And that's
Like, that
good.
is
That's
grueling.
absolutely going to hurt them, whoever that team may be in the future, going into the playoff when you're playing that 10th game. So maybe you lose, you look bad, maybe you get knocked out, maybe you lose a couple key players. That's fucked up.
Yeah.
That's
No,
not.
I mean,
that's not.
I'm very intrigued how they move with the conference championship.
That's such a
moving
better
forward.
idea, man.
And also, but with that also begs the Notre Dame conversation where they just further enforced a reason for them not to join a conference.
Yeah.
Because they have this MOU of you'll always get in if you're in the top 12.
Do you see
or
the
whatever.
new?
and then they throw a little baby brat fit.
Right.
So we're not going to play any bowl games because you don't want a son.
They said, well, actually, next year we'll get in if we're top 12 because you all agreed to it.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter. And it's this is apparently news to some of the coaches. Ross Dillinger's report when it came out. Some people in positions of power, because not everybody's in that meeting, right? It's like it's the who's who of the conferences, and now that the other teams have found out about Notre Dame's ability to get in just because they're top 12, it's like, okay, good luck with that. You're not going to play anybody. Like, you're not going to play anybody in the ACC, in the SEC, in the Big 12, the Big 10. We're not going to nobody wants to play you.
Yeah.
And so when your strength of schedule is top 12, it's like you have no idea how good you are because you haven't played anybody all year.
Right.
You played Toledo.
You beat up Miami,
played,
Ohio.
Right. Those are the only teams that'll take the
couple
check.
military
I mean,
institutions.
Like, that's what I think. Like if I am,
and then you're not making any money.
if I'm a major university, why in the world
Would you ever?
would I schedule Notre Dame? You know what I mean? Like, why would I?
And then Notre Dame would say, "Good, we'll go undefeated." And
Right.
it's like, but you haven't played anybody. You won't know if you're any good or not.
Right, I mean, like they made the college football playoff last year. They ended up getting to the national championship, but they made the CFP last year. They had a loss to Northern Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like,
Have you seen their schedule?
yes, it's abysmal.
It's as bad as A&M's.
You know,
and that's
so,
part of that, like that SEC championship or championship conversation. It's hard to crown a regular season champion because you don't play everybody. So it's the team that
Right.
gets the luckiest breaks in the schedule. While there is parity amongst, yeah, but I mean it's the lesser of two evils than what's happening now.
Of course.
But Notre Dame in 2026, Wisconsin at Lambeau, Rice, Michigan State, at Purdue, at North Carolina, versus SMU. Watch out,
Whoa.
at Syracuse, versus Navy,
That's
versus Miami. That's a tough one. Versus Stanford,
so.
versus Boston College,
So we have one good team so far.
versus USC.
Well, and they have
two good teams.
And this is the other
So they're
thing. is
guaranteed to finish top 12 with
They're
that. They lose
tangentially
both.
tied to the ACC, right? Because in other sports, they're in the Atlantic Coast Conference, and so they're playing ACC teams on this. Like, how many ACC teams are there on there? Boston College, SMU.
Syracuse, UNC,
Miami.
So at least 6 or 7, right?
Yeah,
I thought it would help.
Fuck!
at least 6 or 7, I think, give or take.
This isn't the life I want to
Do
live.
it. Yeah, do it.
This
You
isn't
have
what
to
I
do it now.
want.
You have to do it now.
thing.
You said it.
I'm too old.
No, you're not.
Oh, I would. Yeah. Well, like machine gun jubblies.
Yeah. I'll pretend like a
But yeah,
Clifton
no, I mean
Pool.
they're tied to the ACC, so they're scheduling these.
Oh, back in
ACC
my day, they were way down here.
They're scheduling these ACC games. They're just playing trash ACC teams. Like they're playing, Stanford and Boston College, and there's not. It's unbelievable.
Would it be better if we obliterated the college championship game altogether and we had it snap fucking wild card weekend instead? Wouldn't that be better ratings? So Tulane plays BYU, but Vanderbilt plays whoever's the
Miami.
Right.
Or Notre Dame.
Whatever.
You do a play-in tournament, like the first 4 out play.
Yeah, you release the majority of the rankings a week early.
Because ultimately, like if you really look,
You release
at
the
this,
top 8 a week early, then you have these snap wild card games,
Right, it's
and
like
then
it's-
you base it off that.
it's like March Madness, right? You have
Yeah.
you have your 11 versus 11 game. The winner of that plays it. Your first 4 play. Whoever it is, number 11 versus number 11 play whoever plays number 6, and then you have your number 15 versus 15 game, where you have these 2 teams that are ranked 15. They're not conference champions. They're at-large bids, where it's Mississippi State and like Richmond, and they get lined up against one another. And now basketball is a different sport, right?
But
where the mid-majors can upset, but it's so I think with that.
But you got this
ultimately-
week anyway, and it's like,
not deciding anything.
What good did the Duke Virginia game do anybody?
No, if anything, it created more of a mess.
Right.
If Virginia wins, they get in,
And they shouldn't have.
and they're an ACC champion
And
that
then
gets in, and Miami doesn't go in, and maybe Notre Dame doesn't go in, and it's a
Like,
whole different bag of worms.
I just don't.
JMU definitely doesn't get in.
These two systems don't make sense, right?
Right.
They don't mesh.
It's a mess.
But if you had a weekend of like a snap fucking wild card weekend instead of championship weekend, the viewership ratings are way the fuck up. Tell me you're not tuning into every one of those games. If they pick the next 8 teams out of the, so like the top 8 are already seeded, they're in, right? And then the next 8 play for 4 spots.
Yep.
That's fun.
That's
And-
fun as fuck, right?
Well, until the SEC doesn't see any of that money or whatever. Like that's the whole point.
SEC
Of,
still has 4 teams in, even if that doesn't happen.
no, you're missing what
You
I'm
know?
saying. The conference championship. That's why they have it. The SEC doesn't have to share that with anybody.
Right. It's all their money.
I mean,
Right,
goddamn,
no, I
how
get
much
it.
money do you fucking need?
Yeah, no, I agree.
got
'Cause for
plenty
the
of
fans,
fucking
it
money.
Makes sense, but for them, it's like, no, I'm not missing out on that check from ticket sales and TV sale.
Well,
like
you still get the money. If the team makes it into one of the 8, whatever, they're never going to do this, but there are ways to still financially incentivize it.
Can you put the FCS bracket on the screen? If we can, we'll look at that. But yeah, I think And I also think that the conference conversation is also going to continue in, like, how much is that going to change? How much are you going to continue to realign and get the conference growth where it just becomes Big Ten,
that does
SEC?
tend to eventually kind of like because at some the slippery slope could be then why are we doing conferences all together?
Right. At some point, it's just going to become a
super
conference thing.
Super football.
The ACC just kind of merges in with the SEC, and the Big 12 just kind of or you kind of split, north and south.
Then it becomes what I think is a better thing, which you could do tiers of football. There's your A class, your Premier League teams, and if you finish in the bottom 4 of that, you drop down to B. The top 4 from this B tier jump up into the A tier. The winner of the A tier gets into the playoff.
Right. Yeah,
okay, that's a more exciting system.
Yeah,
I don't hate that.
There's ways you could draw it up. I just
because regionality is done with to begin with, right?
Do what?
Regionality is done with to begin with. You can't say that.
You have the Big Ten that's got
the Big Ten is coast to coast.
USC and UCLA.
Half the countries in the country,
right? So
yeah.
But like at the same time, like the ACC, and and that's the other thing is we forget there are other sports. So there are other things.
No, I think you really do need to treat just football differently at this point.
No, I mean that's what Notre Dame does. Notre Dame's in the ACC and other sports than football.
I think you
at some point this football thing has
football.
just become its own
entity
monster, right? And so you have to operate under like kind of the way Notre Dame does it, where hey, we're going to be independent in football, but we're going to play the ACC and everything else. And so then if you're Florida State, hey, we're going to play the SEC. We're going to be in the SEC for football, but everything else, the ACC stays the thing. And so maybe
it's we play Premier League college football, and then we're in whatever for volleyball, baseball, basketball.
It could be it's going to be interesting to see how it changes because like really ultimately expansion right is what they're going to pitch. That's what they're going to do. They're going to say, well, Notre Dame's upset, BYU's upset, they didn't get in. We're going to expand it to 16 teams or whatever.
Especially with Lloyd, we talked about this last week.
Mm-hmm.
Private equity money getting into college sports,
right,
like it just happened in Utah. They are going to start pushing for ultimate profitability. It's not just like a gesture. It's not just them. They're an alumnus and they're going to put money in because they want their school to win. That's not why that group of people are doing that. They're doing that because they see profitability down the line.
Right.
And that is just gonna. That's just going to get worse. I mean, that's what we're looking at. That's the future. That's what's going to happen. And God knows where it goes from there.
Yeah. No, we'll see.
And the reason they want private equity involved is because
Well, this is the thing. And Cordell says, y'all make it harder than what it should be. LOL, just adopt the FCS. The reason the FCS model works is because they're not worried about money, really, in that extent.
The dollars aren't as big.
The dollars are different. So there aren't as many external factors that put pressure on the way the process works. Like in FBS football, and that's why, like Brian Burgess said, every level below FBS does the playoffs right. And the reason is there is less money involved. There are less people that are involved.
There's no committee.
There's nothing that's putting pressure on those levels like FBS. Because in FBS, you've got billionaires and multimillionaires and private equity, and you've got businesses, and you've got the NCAA, you've got the SEC, you've got all these things that everyone wants a cut of, and you want to make as much as you can. And I'm not saying that extending into this bracket won't make them more money, but they would then be spending, like you would be spending money on a game like, if you're going to get G5 teams, and you would be spending money to get a game like JMU versus, some other small Sunbelt school on television, and you'd be leaving creating a time slot on TV for that, where the draw is not going to be that high, right? You would be taking away a time slot. You could put something that people will watch. You're going to take that away and put that game there. Who's going to watch it?
Especially so I really think, and this is the people in the chat, I think this is like the important thing to understand that. So like I think the two things that are really telling, it's the guy that invested all the money into Texas Tech, right?
Right.
400 whatever million, right? And then there's this private equity coming in with putting in, again, I think it's 9 figures.
$500 million.
Yeah, into Utah. They're calling for the A&M, the Texas Tech guys calling for regulation, right? That doesn't mean regulation in the terms of let's make sure that people can only put X amount in. It means regulation in terms of how can I get profit out of this on the back end.
Right.
And that's why private equity is getting into it. Private equity does not put money forth so a school will win something. Okay? They're looking 10 steps ahead, maybe even only 5 steps ahead.
Right.
And saying, hey, there's a way that eventually, if we throw enough money at this and we, we throw our financial heft around, we can get this regulated to where we make a profit. Because right now the money goes to the schools, right? That doesn't do a private equity group any good. But to put $500 million into Utah so Utah makes some cash, that's not what they're doing this for. Yeah. That's not what a guy that puts $400 million into Texas Tech is doing this for. They're doing it because they see a world very soon that they can turn a profit on it. Yeah, it'll still benefit the schools and they'll be better at sports or whatever. But that's the reality of what's happening.
Right.
And it's happening faster than I thought it would.
Yeah, no, I mean, it is a snowball, a slippery slope of, let's see, I'm going to try to make this FCS bracket out of the FBS. Let's see if ChatGPT can help me out. Put the current FBS rankings in
Do a 32-team playoff?
Into
a 16-team, 32?
32-team.
With seeding. Oh.
You're hurting over there, aren't you? What are you going to do about this?
I don't know. That's really kind of bothering me.
That's the part that was.
Am I going to have to carry you to the car?
Yeah, I think you might have to.
I won't do it.
So the top 8 seeds
I'm gonna take the stairs.
get first round buys.
Okay.
Indiana, Ohio State, Georgia, Texas Tech, Oregon, Ole Miss, A&M, Oklahoma. So they receive first round buys in a 32-team bracket.
I think we should get rid of the
then
buys altogether. But okay.
Then after that, let's see. You would have. Okay, let's see. Yeah, draw the bracket visually. Yeah, that'll be better.
Yeah, a little robot helper.
Yeah, well, this ChatGPT thing going here. It's actually drawing it out for me. This is scary.
Yeah, the computer's pretty.
So then, like, okay, if you go 1 through 32, Indiana would play UCF, USC versus Arizona, Oklahoma versus North Texas, Alabama versus JMU, Texas Tech versus Washington, Texas versus Tulane, Oregon and SMU, BYU and Houston, Ohio State and Washington State, Utah and Michigan, A&M and Tennessee, Miami and Iowa, Georgia and Mizzou, Vandy and Virginia, Ole Miss and Pittsburgh, Notre Dame and Georgia Tech.
That's fun as hell.
And so, yeah, I mean, it sounds awesome.
But you got to lop 2 games off the regular season schedule, I think.
You've got to take games off the regular season schedule. You have to get rid of conference champions, right? And with that, conferences specifically lose money.
Yep.
So this would then, like I think Messina said it, and it's kind of the way you currently think. More football equals more money. Yes, that is true. but less money for specific people.
Yes.
Right? The SEC is not going to get the same money from that they would have gotten from a conference championship game.
Right.
Where in a conference championship game,
and a higher payout for teams that make the
right
12-team playoff. Right? So those teams get a more consolidated amount of that money. And if you're the SEC and you have 4 or 5 teams in,
6 or 7?
No, not doing it. Then, yeah. So, I mean, like, yes, great. It'd be great to spread the wealth, and UCF gets a little cut of it, and GT gets a little cut of it. And well,
because you're
really fun, but
you're stuck in this current discussion where are you actually trying to get the best games?
No, you're not.
Or are you trying to make people happy?
You're trying to do this weird third thing, I think, right? Where you're trying to convince people that you're trying to put the best product out, but really you're trying to maximize the profitability.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So you're telling us it's one thing. You're saying, look, hey, more playoff teams, more playoff games, everybody. But if they really just cared about better football, the most amount of cool football games, they would do something closer to that, closer to
And
the.
so in the
FCS.
24 team model, right? You have buys. Okay, top 8 teams get a bye. So Indiana would have a bye at number 1. They would play the winner of USC and Arizona. Oklahoma would get a bye and would play the winner of Alabama and James Madison. Oregon with a bye would play the winner of BYU and Houston. Texas Tech would get a bye and play the winner of Texas and Tulane. Then on the other side of the bracket, Ohio State, they get a bye. They play the winner of Utah and Michigan, right, which could lead to Michigan, Ohio State in the playoff, which would be pretty exciting. Texas A&M with a bye would play the winner of Miami and Iowa.
The opposite of exciting.
Ole Miss would get a bye, play the winner of Notre Dame and Georgia Tech. Georgia with a bye plays the winner of Vandy versus Virginia, right? And so it ultimately, Lloyd is laying on the floor right now.
We show it to you, but he switches the cameras.
It would be... It's a model that works for me, but it just the money people. I don't know if the conversation is the same. And so, yeah.
That computers and AI.
AI can do what?
Are ever gonna start saying no? Go fuck yourself.
I don't think so.
Like,
I think
it'd be this bracket, like, no, do it your fucking self, dude. Like, I'm not.
No, I sure don't.
That's insane. They're gonna start being sentient and go.
Well, at some point they're gonna be like, no, that's too much work.
They're not gonna like. It's just gonna be like, sure. After you watch this ad for Doritos, like that's what they're gonna start doing.
I do think it's time.
Computers don't eat.
I understand that, but they're going to put ads into the responses.
So CVL asks, would you watch any of these games? So I'm going to go through the games and I'll ask. USC versus Arizona, number 16 versus number 17.
A game to play who?
They would play if they win, they play Indiana, the number 1 team in the country.
I'd watch that.
USC Arizona, I think would be watched, especially West Coast.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
They do that already.
I wouldn't watch that one. People would.
Alabama versus James Madison.
Yeah, I think it's fun actually. Maybe Jamie.
I mean, I would watch it because I like it. It's Alabama, so I would turn it on. But
that's what they already have this.
What do you mean?
Like James Madison's gonna. Who are they playing right now?
Oregon, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean like that game's not really going to change the conversation. BYU versus Houston.
No.
Probably not, but that's a game that, I mean, look, it could turn, like, that's the other thing, is some of these games could turn into good football games, which will then get people to watch, right?
The is we won't watch BYU Houston, but we'll watch LSU Houston.
Of course. Texas versus Tulane, I'm turning that game on.
Fuck
yeah. Utah versus Michigan, I'm going to watch. Miami versus Iowa.
You can't pay me.
Probably not. Notre Dame, Georgia Tech, I'm going to watch. Vanderbilt versus Virginia, I'm going to watch. And then, okay, say USC or Arizona versus Indiana.
Arizona, that's tough. That's a tough one.
Okay, Oklahoma versus Alabama.
That's also a tough one because I've seen it already.
I've seen it, right? But I would watch it because it's number 8 versus number 9. It's probably going to be a good game. I'll watch it. Oklahoma versus James Madison. If James Madison upsets Alabama,
then yeah, I'm tuning in.
Then you're watching it, right? Okay, BYU or Houston versus Oregon.
That's still tough. Maybe
it is, right?
That's still tough.
Okay, Texas or Tulane versus Texas Tech. Texas versus Texas Tech is going to be a monster game.
Yeah, that'd be weird.
Tulane versus Texas Tech. This is.
I'd watch it because I live here, but I wouldn't.
If Tulane is playing Texas Tech, that means they just upset Texas, right? That in turn would lead to viewership, right? Michigan or Utah versus Ohio State. I think either one you watch, especially Michigan versus Ohio State in the playoffs. Iowa.
Who's coaching Michigan?
Poggi. Poggi, whatever his name is.
Poggi.
Miami or Iowa versus Texas A&M. Miami versus A&M you watch. We're going to get to watch that.
I'm not watching Iowa play football. I'm just not going to do
Iowa either, right? But if they upset Miami, I would probably turn on the A&M game. Like, that's the other thing is, like, okay, if the lower seed does get in, it means they surprised.
And they got some momentum.
Ultimately get momentum people would watch, right?
Yeah, America's sweetheart.
Right. Georgia Tech or Notre Dame versus Ole Miss. I'm watching either one of those.
Yes.
Vanderbilt or Virginia versus Georgia. Definitely watching Vanderbilt, Georgia.
I'm not watching Virginia, Georgia now.
In a sense, you do create some exciting games, but if Virginia goes out and they dominate Vanderbilt, an SEC team, then they're lining up against Georgia. That like those are the things that you can take into account. Where
The FCS doesn't do buys, right?
I don't think so.
I almost think it's better. I'd be more inclined to watch games if there weren't the 8 teams with the buys.
Really,
I think so.
they're just sitting waiting.
I kind of just there's a competitive advantage.
Team bracket.
Yeah, I almost feel like I'd rather see
Okay, well then
the 1 versus the 32.
You would watch Indiana versus UCF.
If it's a 1 and out,
Yeah.
I'm much more inclined.
It's a win or go home.
I think to watch that.
Oklahoma versus North Texas.
Yeah, I definitely watch that because North Texas.
Texas Tech versus Washington. Oregon versus SMU.
If it sends Texas Tech,
so y'all would lean more towards a 32 team than a 28.
This is infinitely more interesting to me than these mid-level games that are playing that are playing to go play a top 8 team that's been sitting and resting for a week.
Yeah, we'll see how it's very interesting. I agree. At some point, we will connect athletically. This morning, we'll see if we can peel Lloyd off of the ground as he is currently in a lot of pain. Don't be too concerned about him, but you can be some concerned about him.
We've seen him pretty hurt before.
Appreciate you guys tuning in this morning.
What is it, though? ChatGPT it.
What?
What's wrong?
What your injury is?
Rhomboid. It is a rhomboid. No, but how does it... Wow.
How does it how?
You connect me athletically?
No, I'm putting the camera on.
No. We're showing this professional operation we're running.
Let's see. P to Z.
Oh, my fat's out.
Oh, this camera's not going to reach it. Maybe can I zoom out more? Yeah, there you are. I mean, everybody witness what is going on. Is my mic on? Yeah, can you hear me? I think you can hear me. Are you like? Oh no, they're not. They can't even see it. There you go. Now you can witness what's going on right now.
Ain't that?
I'm not just a fucking piece. I'm not a fucking piece of meat.
A little bit, you are.
Yeah, I know, but ow. I couldn't sit in that chair anymore. It just keeps seizing up. Well, I'm going to the doctor.
That's crazy because sometimes your ears bleed and you don't go to the doctor.
Yeah,
You're going to the doctor over this one?
I'm actually going to go to the doctor.
All right, I'm just gonna close this thing out this morning.
I'm ready.
No, it's okay. We'll close it out. Appreciate everybody hanging out with us here on this this fun Thursday morning. I appreciate. Do what? I didn't put anything. I didn't search.
I don't think that's in the right term.
Let's see. You're gonna have to go on IR, bud. You're done for the season.
Yep.
Yeah. No, Lloyd is. I mean, check him out.
As he grabs his vape,
so
that'll fix it.
Appreciate all of you. We'll be back tomorrow morning, 7 to 9 a.m. And we will we'll see if anything else crazy happens over the next. This camera is really good. We'll see if anything else happens over the next 24 hours. It's been pretty fun. Make sure you stay tuned to the Michigan situation. We're gonna check on Lloyd. We'll let y'all know if he recovers. We'll see y'all tomorrow morning, 7 to 9 a.m.